Hey, this is Ken Casey from the Dropkick Murphys, and I love the Grandstanders! Take it away, kid!
Hello, welcome to another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor, Russ Stevens, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and he's JP's first son, Tim Hoey. Well, we have another great show for you tonight, so boys, let's get it started. And for the first time in the history of the Grandstanders Live, we start with the Boston Bruins. Woo!
Why not? Why not?
Timmy's dream.
All right, boys, so we beat the Toronto Maple Leafs in 7 games last night, and I would say this about the Boston Bruins: they were the second best team on the ice.
Absolutely.
yeah.
They were all played.
Yep.
I mean, the roles were reversed. The other goalie was Tuukka last night.
Yeah.
Tuukka was the other goalie.
Letting that short one into
wait.
Nordstrom.
What
Oh, yeah.
happens typically is like the Bruins go down and beat the crap out of the other team and hit the post 3 times, and they come down and score on Tuukka. It was exactly the opposite last night.
Russ, we have to make sure we have this on tape.
Yeah,
Boys.
don't burn the tape.
They were beating the crap out of the Bruins, and the Bruins went down and scored, and the building was shocked because we were getting outplayed.
Yeah.
We came out and outplayed them for the first 2 minutes, and then they just took over.
But Tuukka, credit's due. Tuukka stood on his head in that second period. He kept them in that game.
There were a couple plays, though, where Toronto, just missed, wide open opportunities.
hockey.
I know it is hockey, but they could have been up 3-0.
Russ, what are the keys to the series victory?
Well, last night I thought the fourth line for the Bruins was the best line in the ice last night. I mean, I texted you with about 8 minutes to play and said, "Could Cassidy just play the fourth line the rest of the way?" Seriously,
Yeah, even when they were out there against Toronto's first
That
line.
first line
they
of the
were
Bruins
winning.
is overpassing. They're trying, they have nice opportunities, and they're trying to make that one extra pass, for the open one-timer. And 80% of the time, they're not; those passes aren't getting through. Things just aren't going right.
Yeah,
They're
the
still a great line,
announcers
though.
criticized him for that too, going that trying to get too cute with that one extra pass.
All right, Joe, we can give you. He's not going to give Tuukka credit.
Well, I will
we
give
can
him credit for
we can
last
give credit. We can give credit for Tuukka for winning that series.
Maybe not the series, but for that game, that's all his. Number one star. They don't win if he doesn't do what he did.
And Timmy, Brandon Carlo, all of a sudden a guy who hadn't played for 2 playoff series.
He's
last 2
a
years.
factor. His size. I mean, we're a little undersized with Krug out there. That's obvious.
He
gets pushed
backs
around
up
the
Krug,
defensive-
too.
Yeah. And, I mean, Krug can skate. His skating ability is off the charts. I mean, his spin moves and things like that. It's nice to have a big dude out there like Carlo.
But Rusty boys, an understatement to say that at the very least we were the slowest team on the ice. But I thought, size-wise too, that Toronto played bigger than
look,
us.
Toronto's got some seriously skilled players on that team.
Oh, very good player.
Great puck handlers. They're fast, but they made just enough mistakes.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
hockey's a bizarre sport. You can outplay another team and hit the post 10 times and lose.
Well, Timmy, the guy, what was it, Garnier or what? Who leaves the puck?
Gardner.
Gardner leaves the puck, and there's for nobody on the back line. We get our second goal of the night because the guy had the worst brain fart that you could imagine a defenseman
Did you see
making.
his face? Because he knew he would never play another game for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
And look, our best players did not play their best yesterday in the most important game, and we won. That's hockey, Joe, isn't it?
Oh yeah, but in Game 6, Marchand was incredibly good.
I'll tell you
and
this.
he wasn't. And Pasternak.
Is there anything
stunk.
more exciting than NHL playoff hockey? I mean,
I will say that to me, but I didn't think that game was that exciting last night.
I
It
think
was
it was-
that intense.
I agree.
It didn't feel like a Game 7.
Game 6 was
intensity.
better.
I agree, but I was just like kind of scrolling through the highlights of the different
Yeah.
series, and that San Jose game was
Oh.
crazy. I mean, there's just like everyone hits harder. Every shift is like they play their shift like the last shift. I think if the regular season was played like that, it would be a more popular sport in this country.
But Russ, if it had Kadri been there the whole series, then
probably-
it would felt a lot more than like an intense playoff series.
Maybe his contract's up. Maybe we should pick him up.
I think that could be right, and B, Toronto might have won the series had they had Kadri.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Right? That was a razor thin margin, and that moron. Truly a moron.
Yeah.
Takes himself out of a series in game 1.
I could see Marchand was skating away from altercations last night, so he's
Yeah.
learned.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy, Kadri, obviously hasn't learned because
No.
they need you got to have your best players present.
And the Charlie Coyle deal, and we
He
obviously
looked
panned
great
it
last
because
Big
Donato is a talent, whether it's ever
Yeah.
going to come to the surface. But Charlie Coyle for this series may have been the best player on the Bruins.
There was a point last night where we were kind of protecting that 3-1 lead.
I know exactly what you're referring to.
And he had the puck on his stick
ragged
for
it for 30
30 or
seconds.
40 seconds.
Great, yeah.
I mean, he fought off 3 guys behind the net. It's nice being 6'4", 230. This is you could see where, like, if
Yeah.
he wasn't that size and that strong, that 40 seconds wouldn't have. And that was a critical juncture in the game.
So Russ,
Like,
the deal already paid off.
Yeah, for sure. Look, if you go 3 rounds in the Stanley Cup playoffs and you're the second best forward in the ice, I'll take that.
yeah,
He's a solid hockey player, and he's under contract for next year, too.
he
And
certainly
Joe,
looked
in the
good.
NBA, the Bruins don't ever face the Columbus Blue Jackets in the second
No, that
round.
doesn't happen.
It does not
No,
happen,
no.
but it happens there. So it's a complete wild card right now. And one little fact before we go to break: the Bruins have the home ice advantage the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah.
We're gonna go for the break, and we're gonna go to the Boston Celtics.
Columbus is not going to be a joke, though.
No, they're
I'll
big,
tell you
big
that.
team.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help. And slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
That's all.
Okay, the world champion, 17 time world champion Boston Celtics. First of all, we got to give them props for sweeping Joe the Pacers. You sweep an NBA playoff, no matter who you're
Yeah.
playing. That's a
Especially
huge
two
accomplishment.
games in India, but they were just a terrible offensive team.
Terrible.
No, but Pacers played. I thought.
No,
excellent-
Bogdanovich is a
excellent
nice
NBA
player.
on
Yeah.
defense. Didn't you? Don't you think?
Absolutely. Oh, they might be the best defense we face in the playoffs.
But Timmy, if they had an Oladipo, this series is probably going 7 games.
I was not really impressed with the Celtics' performance. I mean, they did sweep, but they did not look like a really,
Dominant team.
they didn't look dominant.
Look, they did what they had to do. We very
Yeah,
rarely
right.
I know,
Russ
I
can
know.
sweep
Yeah.
any series. So I'll take with that at this
Pretty
point.
sure the last 2 games, both Horford and Irving had terrible shooting nights. We won the last 2 games of that series with Horford and Irving shooting terribly.
Yeah.
That says a lot for where this team is right now, especially with Gordon Hayward.
All right, so we go to Celtics versus the Bucks. Last year, if you're scoring at home, we had the home court advantage, and that was really the decisive spot on the for the series. We don't this year. We'll be opening in Milwaukee on Sunday, and of course, the question both now and the rest of the series is how do we stop Giannis, Joe?
You're not gonna. Giannis last year was a rising star. This year, he's the MVP and deservedly so. He is twice as good as he was last. If you liked him last year, you're going to be terrified of him this year.
All right, but Timmy, is it one of these things where the strategy is let Giannis score his 40 and 50 points and stop everybody else?
No, I think the strategy is to put Semi on him and just beat the piss out of him physically.
Yeah.
And make him shoot from outside. Just clog up the middle. Don't let him.
Now, Horford's done well against him, too.
But
so.
that's a great point. But Russ, what Tim's basically saying is you have 6 fouls from Shemi, you have 6 fouls from Tice, Baines. You're going to use 18 fouls to try to wear him out.
Yeah, what the Celtics did last year, if you remember, they would sort of build a wall around the foul line. And when Giannis would come down, there'd be 3 guys, and they'd really body him up. To Tim's point, I actually think that the key is stopping Middleton. He's the guy who scares the pants off of me, right? Yeah. If he's one of those guys who gets going and he just starts raining and he just demoralizes
like
you.
Like a Vinny Baker.
Right.
Yeah, he's a good shooter.
He'll demoralize
Bledsoe
you.
also.
Right. He'll demoralize you. So I think Middleton, clamping down on Middleton is the key to the series.
Yeah, I thought he was the biggest pain in the ass.
He hurt us more last year,
right?
yeah.
He
hurt us more.
Man. He can. Do you remember what the half a second left?
Oh,
that's right.
Yeah, and we can't stop him. I'll tell you something. I thought Al Horford, all-around game, was the best player on the court.
He was terrific.
Celtics. Yeah. You right?
He gets that ball down low, and it's pretty much 2 points every time. It's almost
but defensively, I mean,
too.
he just rebounded.
And he's getting rebounds.
He turned it on one game where he was on a mission defensively.
And there's just
turned everything around.
And one thing too, I've been watching a lot of NBA playoffs. Centers are getting played off the court, game in and game out in the playoffs. There are teams who cannot play their center because he can't do enough. Horford's the opposite, right? Horford's the kind of guy in the playoffs. He's exactly the guy you need.
Oh, he can hit threes, which
Right.
is like the league now.
And he's
center that can shoot threes.
And he's getting those desire things like offensive rebounds. All of a sudden his game is upped a little.
Don't you feel good when you see him taking a 3 from the top of the key? Like, I feel pretty good that shot's going in.
Yeah. All right, Joe. Kyrie was who he thought he was, wasn't he? Fantastic.
Oh, yeah, he's a spectacular player. Tim loves watching him.
No, but he was finally the guy that used to play against us in those high leverage situations.
The night he scored 37 and really took us on his shoulders. That's why you need a superstar.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I hate the star system that the NBA has, those are the guys who win in the playoffs.
That's exactly right.
Okay, so I talked bad about Jason Tatum, said I was actually going to drive him to the airport myself for AD. All right, you have to admit, his value at the very least skyrocketed over the last 4 games. I thought fantastic offensively and actually contributed defensively.
Yeah, he was the second best option offensively. All of a sudden, he started taking the ball to the hole. He'd been very shy to take the ball before that. Now
the NBA playoffs are a cauldron, right? And if you can prove yourself to essentially be the second scorer on it, he was the second option on a playoff team's 21 years old.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
The Celtics were giving him the ball. He won that game. Was it game 2?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
He makes his own offense.
It's a 3-point league. Do we agree?
Oh, of course.
Like,
absolutely.
if your threes are falling, you're a star. If they're not falling, it changes everything. And they fell for him in this series.
Yeah.
All right, I have again another mea culpa. He's no longer Grandpa Gordon Hayward. All right, we'll forget that
up
for
to
now.
an uncle.
Him and Brock Holt. All right, I'm not gonna make fun of Brock Holt either. He's still Uncle Gordon Hayward. Mm-hmm. But he's almost going to be cousin Gordon Hayward if he plays
another fourth quarter like that.
I thought in the fourth quarter of the fourth game that we're probably playing a 5th game at home probably tonight if it wasn't for Uncle.
Oh yeah,
Gordon
4's a
Hayward.
while.
He's a legitimate scoring threat now.
But I think he's your 3rd scoring threat in the 4th quarter, and
I think that's
where defensively. It's difficult for an NBA.
Just like in the NFL, you've got to go to the 5th or 6th option when you get to the Super Bowl.
So would you say Morris
you're going to have to do that
was the
here.
3rd scoring option before Hayward got on fire?
He had a great fourth quarter too.
But Morris has leveled off.
Not in the 4th quarter, the last 6 minutes. I think that Morris takes a back seat, and Morris
was
in that 4th game. He was.
And Hayward's now surpassed him for that. Right?
Yeah. Look, I want to see as little as Marcus Morris on the court as possible, to be honest with you.
But boy, would I love to see that Marcus Morris from the first.
Well,
half
he got
of the season
hot in
up
game
again.
1 and kept us in game 1 long enough to get that team on track. So you want good Marcus. You just need to be quick about getting rid of bad Marcus.
Good Marcus is very good.
He sure is.
And before we go to the break, losing Marcus Smart for this series, Joe, is going to be big.
I get on the Milwaukee series very, very
You know
big.
who we're going to see more of. Because he's out is
Terry Rozier.
Terry Rozier, yeah, your buddy. All right, we're going to the break, and then we're going to go to the Boston Red Sox.
Who?
It appears these hot ashes are about to be dumped, which could possibly start a wildfire. How will Smokey deal with such a hot situation? The garden hose defense. Next, a thorough stir. Then another spray. And finally, feeling if the ashes are cool.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, yes, the selfie. A ritual practiced so frequently with this tribe, but not so much by Smokey Bear.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Okay, here's a microcosm of what's wrong with the Boston Red Sox. Sandy Leone is back with the Boston Red Sox. That's what's wrong with them. The fact is that they got rid of Blake Swihart. And look, he was the 25th man on the roster, so let's not go act like he's some kind of big superstar. He is 27 years old. But instead of Alex Cora turning over the lunch table, they got rid of Blake Swihart and put Sandy Leone in.
And Sandy Leone's the 25th player on a AAA team.
Yeah. It was a panic move, and if you're going to make a panic move, Russ, I need better than Sandy Leone.
Yeah, you really do. It's they should have brought Doug Mirabelli back and rushed him from the airport.
At least,
Right.
At least that had some drama with the cops and everything.
So, Timmy, we can act like last year's team, once they got rid of Hanley Ramirez, was just all cake and ice cream. But we can tell by the fact that Sandy Leone's back on the team that it's not cake and ice cream with the starting pitching right now.
Listen, I'm not ready to panic yet. What are we, 6 games out, 7 games out? It's freaking April. Like, I am not.
Panic!
I love this. This
They
is good.
just
Timmy's
lost.
the voice
They
of reason.
dumped a doubleheader to the Detroit
I don't
Tigers.
care. It's they're not even like on my radar right
Yeah,
now.
but that's what
Yeah,
it's
I know, that's the
You know that's the
problem.
worst thing
No,
that panic
but-
is apathy.
What is it?
Total
6
apathy.
games out. So I'm focused
They
on
are
the Bruins.
irrelevant.
Right now, they are irrelevant.
I can't give tickets away.
Yeah, I cannot.
Like,
Right.
do you have any tickets to the movies instead?
So
know
you
what I
better
mean?
stop talking about
movies. Yeah, right. All right, boys. So second base was a problem going into the offseason.
was, yeah.
This was right now just rearing its head of bad planning. Brock Holt, we love him,
Yeah.
but very fragile, not a guy that can play any more than 100 games a year. Edwin Nunez, an absolute stiff. They had to re-sign him.
physical wreck, too.
Right, and Dustin Pedroia, we knew he was gone, and
I think they were
retire.
just hoping against hope that Dustin would come back and give them like 60, 70 games.
What was Dustin batting when he went down?
110, something like that.
Okay, so now
Jackie Bradley, Sandy Leone range?
Well, Russ, what's the plan? Because we need to have a quality second
I
baseman.
think, honestly, the plan could be Zue Lin. I mean, I honestly think that they might be looking at this guy saying, could we get 90 games out of Lin?
But don't we have Chavez who just is like lighting it
Well,
on
see,
fire
the
right
thing
now,
about
right?
Chavez is that and he's up. He played third base last night. Can he play an efficient second base?
Yeah, and I think you could ease him into it, give him 50 games at second, keep him on the roster, moving around. I think sticking him in for 100 games at second base,
You're not
learning
ready
on
for
the
it?
job in Boston.
I think you need a little continuity. I think the two-way Lynn idea is better because then you have some continuity with the shortstop.
Yeah.
Now, the
You have a
problem-
double play combination. Maybe two-way Lynn's not going to hit. He's not going to hit 300, but
I don't know if this Boston market will have a negative effect. They're talking about this Chavez kid like he's full of energy, full of life. Like some guys are just oblivious to it, and
Be great.
the way they're talking about Chavez is like he's like a firecracker waiting to get lit.
Well, they drafted him first round out of high school. He's been in the minor
I know,
leagues for
but
a
here's
long
the problem.
time.
These
It's
guys
sad.
got like 20 games in second base since he was 17 years old. Like, I don't know. Like,
you're more worried about the position than him.
All I care is he's
You want-
terrific.
can he turn the double play
Don't
at
make
the
him play
major league
second
level?
base for the Boston
But
Red
that's
Sox. for
bad
100
planning,
games.
Russ, because
Yeah.
first of all,
Totally.
you knew there was a roadblock at third base with Devers.
Yeah.
You knew right now you weren't going to put him at first base with Moreland and Pierce. You should have had him playing second base last season. I know he got jammed
was
up for
suspended.
No, I know, but
Arizona Fall League, get him 30
absolutely.
games,
Yeah.
right? Spring
Right.
training, all spring training at second.
the Boston Park League.
Right.
Have him playing second base. All right, Rafael Devers, supposed to be our third baseman. We projected 30 home runs plus right now.
guilty.
And I don't even know. None of us even know what he's batting as far as we're in the lineup. But he has 0 home runs and 3 RBIs. It looks like the guy needs to go to
He's hitting
Pawtucket.
like 380 with men on base with 3 stinking RBIs to show for it.
But Joe, is it an understatement to say that he might need more seasoning and needs to go back to Pawtucket?
Well, he came up too early to begin with. You're
Right.
right there. Now you're just going to have to live with that. You can't send him back down now.
Russ, can you send him back down right now?
You could, but I'm with Joe. I'd give him 100 more at bats, see if he gets untracked in the warm weather. I kind of like where Tim is. We may be panicking a little early.
I think we've played as bad as we can play,
Right.
and we're still hanging around. We just swept Tampa. I mean, this could turn around quick. I think Tampa is
I
overachieved.
like this, Timmy. I like this optimistic
Tim,
Timmy.
they blew 2 leads. They were lucky against Tampa. They blew 2
we
leads.
know, like, they're all crap in the bed right now, and they're not going to. There's too much talent there.
Look at all the love with Timmy.
Yeah.
It's not love, it's
I like this,
reality.
Timmy.
I know.
He's going to sell those Red Sox tickets.
That's right.
Timmy. We need more of this, Timmy.
All right, just a couple of administrative notes. Colton Brewer, please submit your uniform.
Hand in your
Tyler,
playbook.
Yeah, Tyler Thornburg, hand in your playbook.
yeah.
And Heath Hembry, I've had enough
Yeah,
of the Heath
yeah.
Hembry era,
Yeah,
right?
we're sifting through the wheat and the chaff in the bullpen. It's pretty clear who's who.
Yeah, right.
The kid Walden can throw the ball.
Yeah,
He looks
absolutely.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he has movement, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And where would we be without Hector Velasquez, my Mexican League man crush?
Yeah.
Every time that guy goes out, he gives you a quality.
Started
quality
last
innings.
night.
Quality 3 innings last night.
All right, but still.
No, I know.
We never mentioned his name once before the season.
Oh, no.
No,
Oh,
I'm always
every week.
Yeah, okay.
I've been talking about Hector Velasquez
Okay, I'm
since
sorry.
Yeah.
since I saw him in the
The
Mexican
names kind of
League.
blend together for me.
How happy were you that Travis Lakins was on the mound last night? That must
Yeah.
have made you give you warm,
He
That was
was
fuzzy
another
supposed to
feelings.
be on the
prediction,
opening day roster.
You guys won't even admit all my predictions are coming correct. Michael
Without the hat.
Davis.
Without
I
the
said,
hat.
oh yeah, okay, and then I'm not even
Signs
gonna,
of a desperate
I'm not even gonna talk.
administration.
I'm not even going to mention that what the professor had as a prediction, but JBJ. And I remember
I know.
I
Doesn't look good
did
right
mention
now.
that JBJ could be the first one out the door. JBJ statistically is right now, for as many bats as he had in April, one of the worst Red Sox batting wise in the history of the Red Sox, Joe.
Going back 100 whatever years. And it's probably breaking his own record. Remember,
so
the
he
first
can-
year he came up, he was even worse, I
Okay,
think.
so he can only go up.
That's right, Timmy.
I
He
like
can't go
Timmy.
down. He can only go up.
The glasses are just half full.
Can,
It's
can he bat
overflowing.
below 100?
Milton clearly had the marijuana
Well,
dispensary open.
my son did hit his first high school career home run.
Congratulations, Colin. All right, when we go
in a
back to
good
the
mood.
when we go to the break, we're gonna go some more Red Sox, and then we'll finish up with the Patriots in the NFL draft.
Didn't even talk.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Okay, I've been talking about this for a couple years now. Can now the fact that we're crap in the bed, can Mookie Betts bat third base, Joe? I mean, bat
Of
third
course, we
spot.
want third. You've been wanting him third for the longest time. Why
I know,
not?
And it was horrible. They won a World Series last year with him batting.
No,
leadoff.
I know that was that,
Right, like
Yeah,
it's so
that was
hard.
an
That was-
accident
you
of
must have
nature.
been- I know you went through a
Despite
trauma
that,
last
despite
year.
that,
Right,
despite
yeah,
that, but
despite
right,
that, sure.
but-
The MVP, when the MVP won a World
Okay,
Series.
yeah, but it's a new year, right? All right,
Yeah.
we
Now,
have
did he roll the dice and come up snake eyes so far this year?
absolutely,
contract?
yeah, right. The same
Yeah.
contract. Would you think that the
As
same
I
contract
said
is
last
available?
week, that same contract will be available all year long unless he's injured.
All right,
All
we're gonna
year.
we're gonna
I
monitor
agree.
that.
Franchise. He's a franchise
All year
guy.
long. Are
He
you
can
kidding
make
me?
a franchise.
Okay, we owe Chris Sale like 6 years and $500 billion. Are we gonna get our return, Timmy?
No. I mean, he'll be a okay pitcher. I mean, if this is what we're gonna get, boy, we're in a little bit of trouble.
Chris Sale, at the very least, the last 3 years with the Boston Red Sox will be the closer, Joe.
That I might accept, but he's just going to have to be a pitcher now. He's just too, like you called that 2 years ago. He said he was slight. He wasn't going to last physically.
Yep.
And I don't know what
$30 million
doctors the
closer.
Red Sox are using that they told him, oh, yes, sign him to this
$30
big
million
time.
closer.
Well, you never wanted to sign him this early, Russ.
I just didn't think it was necessary to sign him before he could prove that he could pitch into September.
Yeah.
Okay, so the NFL draft is tomorrow, right? What? And it's always boring. The first round is the whole night, and the Patriots.
You wait
And then
until-
they don't make a pick
right, You wait
anyways.
until 11 o'clock, and then they're on the clock, and they trade from the 32nd down to the 45th, and you have to wait until
Joe,
another
will you
day.
have the porta potty next to the?
Of course, I wouldn't leave. But now we can take our phones with us.
He wears diapers. Male
wears a
diapers.
I loved it. You see that rumor today? We trade our 32nd pick to Arizona.
Yeah.
Who trades Josh Allen to the Giants?
Rosen.
Josh Rosen to the Giants, and we get the defensive end, DJ or whatever his name, the African name, and who's a bust there, and the Giants bust, first round bust from a couple of years ago, the big tight end.
We get 2 busts? Oh, that sounds
Well,
wonderful.
you know he loves. They're both high first round.
That's
picks.
not happening, Joe. That's
No,
ridiculous.
Joe.
Patriots have 12 picks. I predict that the Patriots will only pick 6 players, Russ.
Yeah, 6. Yeah, that sounds about right. 6 or 7.
Right, because look, 7th round and 6th round picks for the New England Patriots mean absolutely
You know what's
nothing.
frustrating when he trades for future picks and we don't get the instant
But
gratification.
however, Timmy, there is a school of thought saying no. Listen, that he may give up some picks this year to get into the draft in the first round with a bad team next year to
You go
try
up
to
a
get
round.
himself in a position. This is Tim Hoey's wet
my
dream.
dream.
Right?
For you know who,
Like
mate.
if you could get seriously, like could they put together a package and get like the Detroit Lions first round pick next year? And would Patricia say, all right, I think we're going to be fine this coming year, and hopefully
We'll
they
give
fall.
you 4 picks in the first 2 rounds.
Because look, every NFL team is the worst team in the league if their quarterback goes down, right, Joe?
Well, the only team I can think of in recent history where it worked out was the Patriots going 11-5 with Matt Castle.
Right, yeah, exactly. And they didn't even make the playoffs,
Yeah.
which is the irony, right? All right, the priorities, at first, it has to be tight end, right?
Feels like it.
Right, they have to get a new, young tight end. Obviously, you're never going to replace a Gronk, but, right, you have to start somewhere. And this is a good draft, Joe, for tight ends.
I don't know. They look a little. Belichick likes his tight ends big like Gronk. If you get a normal-sized tight end, he makes him into a running back like he did Hernandez.
Yeah, so
you know?
this supposedly second best tight end from Iowa
Noah Fant.
is
Yeah.
not really a blocker.
No.
So if
He's
he's
a
not going to
smart
be able to block,
245.
I don't think he's on Belichick's radar.
So, Russ, the person that we think they're going to draft and everybody's going to talk about when it's our turn will
not be the guy. Yeah, no, will not be. You can take all of the early predictions and take a, and I can guarantee you not one that our guy won't be any of the guys.
The quarterback from Duke and all that talk.
No, so my question for you guys: do you think he drafts a quarterback in the first 3 rounds?
Wow.
Maybe. Yeah. I think. Why not? Yeah, I think
Do you think he will? Do you think he will?
No, I don't think so because I want him to. Too bad. But anything I want him to do, he never does. Right? He's gonna just be picking freaking defensive backs right out of his butt because that's what he does.
If he could get that Duke quarterback in the first 3 rounds, is he projected?
I think
to
he'd
still
have
be
to
there?
pick him in the first round pick, Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
He seems like Belichick's kind of guy,
sure does.
cerebral.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's got.
I think he's going to pick a quarterback with one of the second round picks. That's what he's going to do.
Look, I want offensive linemen because I realize if Tom Brady is going to stay on this team for 2-3 years, the only way he stays upright is to have the best offensive linemen
Could you
in
see
football.
him going after a left tackle and moving Isaiah Wynn over to guard, which seems to be his natural
Oh, they already
position?
have 2 solid guards. They have 2. They're fine with guards.
I can't.
They
Please
need
no more
tackles.
Isaiah Wynn. I mean, everyone acts like he's the Messiah. Can we
Yeah.
just have
He's never
Isaiah
played it
Wynn?
down.
It,
Yeah, he's
it
never-
pains me to admit this, but I agree 100% with you. If they did nothing, and drafted 6 offensive linemen with their first 6 picks,
Yeah.
I'd sort of half understand that.
Right.
He's very good at picking offensive linemen.
That's right.
He's very good at that.
Well, Dante makes it work. That's what it is.
I mean, his batting percentage on picking offensive linemen is very high.
It's the most important part is keeping Tom Brady upright. I mean, that's literally.
We have no quarterback of the future.
No.
So why don't we keep the quarterback of the present, the quarterback of the present, as long as we possibly
yeah,
can?
and we're going to depend on Isaiah Wynn,
yeah,
with
we
a
can't
blown
have Brian
Achilles.
Hoyer out there.
who wasn't even a tackle in
He
college.
had a blown Achilles tendon.
Yeah, right.
That's not good.
And Brown put on one of the best seasons in the history of the NFL.
Right.
You know? All right, boys. Before we go, name one guy, Joe, that the Patriots is going to take. Quickly.
Oh, I'll just say they're going to take a safety.
Yeah, a guy. I wanted a guy. Give me a
That
name.
guy Winovich from Michigan, long-haired.
Timmy.
I'll say the Duke quarterback.
Renfro, The guy from Clemson.
All right.
Yeah, the little white guy.
Marketing.
All right, boys, that's our show for tonight. Want to thank the boys. Want to thank everyone behind the scenes. Of course, Handsome Todd and William the intern.
He got
And
handsomer.
Jacob.
Todd
We have
got even
Jacob,
more handsome.
who was sitting in tonight. Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in on Friday night at 9 o'clock for Dirty Water Friday Night Live at the Greatest Bar in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm your host, Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.
Here comes the circus.